Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. I am out here in Temecula, California, about to partake in this Indian press ride for the new Pursuit. This is their full-on bagger touring model. We got Traveling Tall here. I'm going to tell you guys, go watch his video when this comes out. He's actually going to be riding this bike all the way back to Knoxville, Tennessee from California, 2,200 miles or so in a couple days. So definitely check out his video. We're going to hop on this and go for a ride. We got about 130 miles of riding today. I am approaching this review. There's a whole bunch of motorcycle journalists here. Morgan Gale's actually being one of them that personally was a big reason why I bought my Heritage.
Of all the Softail bikes, this is the one that stood out to me as a great all-rounder.
Watched his videos a bunch. So I'm going to leave a comment, put it in the description down below, to legitimate journalists on this bike. I'm coming here to kind of show you guys the practicality side of it. Me, at work, one thing that's always a pain, hard hat, safety vest. I actually brought that to show you guys that you can fit hard hat, safety vest. It's a big thing for me. The other thing that's important is the bag. This is actually my daily bag that I carry my laptop, camera gear, all that stuff in. Plenty of room there. I'll show you guys a shot of the helmet in the bag also. And then I have a drone over here. I mean, there's so much storage on these things. It's ridiculous. So in terms of practicality, for somebody who might be looking at something like this to use it as a daily, essentially, or have the ability to get back and forth to the office, very good option with this bike. So here we go. Fits a full-size phone. That's awesome. So one thing that I was interested in getting on this bike, first impression would be the seating position, because I know with the Harley, the Ultra Limited, you end up being really on the tank. I feel real up on the tank. And right now I can tell you that this is not like real high up on the tank. I feel very comfortable for now, but I have a lot of miles to go. This thing has some pretty good get up and go. There's a lot to be said about these things. The power, it's there. I mean, this Power Plus 108 it's no slouch. All these guys. So it's funny. At this light, I hear all this music. They said at the event yesterday, these bikes have up to 16 speakers. 16 speakers, and when you come up to these lights, you can certainly hear it. Part of the smartass of me when they said that was like, but does it play free? It's certainly competing with Harley-Davidson in the audio realm. Now, true to the Indian lineup, the Challenger has the adjustable windscreen, which is a game changer on the road here. I mean, you basically take all of the wind completely off. Even actually with this fairing, to be totally honest with you, I feel a little bit of, I guess, at the top of my helmet without the screen up. This is also a taller windscreen on this bike. That is unique to the Pursuit, being a more touring-minded motorcycle. I mean, right now it's like 60 degrees, so it's not cold, but it's not warm. And you can take that thing, put it all the way up, and basically take the wind completely off you. So with the lowers on this bike, which are currently closed, I actually don't even know how to open them yet. I'll open them later as it gets warmer. But with the lowers and the screen all the way up, the only place that I feel any wind whatsoever is on my arms. That's it. Aside from that, the rest of my body completely shielded from the elements. I am so proud to be out here producing this content for you guys as a 39-year-old regular dude who's out here just riding this bike to tell you what I think about it and the role that it might fit for me. So one problem I have with my Heritage in particular, and again, I'm not comparing touring bike to touring bike because the Heritage is certainly not that, but it does have bags, and that was the reason why I bought it, because I thought, wow, it's the perfect small bike for daily commuting. Pretty quickly after I bought it, I realized, I'm like, man, getting my hard hat in here, getting my bag with my computer in here, it's kind of a giant pain. And at times, such a pain that I just don't ride. With this bike and this platform, it changes completely. So on my Heritage, if I roll up to a job site, I take the helmet off, grab my bag, which is strapped down to the back, which takes a minute to unclip it. It's kind of a pain. And then I end up carrying my bag and my helmet and everything into a job site with me. And my hard hat is like stuffed in a backpack and takes up a ton of room. So I end up kind of having to lug that stuff around me because I don't have anywhere to put it. With this, you get off the bike, you put the helmet in the trunk and pull out the hard hat, safety vest, and you're able to basically just take what you need into that, whether it be a job site, office, whatever it is you do for a living, leave all that stuff on your bike. And that is a game changer in terms of practicality. A lot of people look at motorcycles as being impractical and just being these things that you get on and, you know, ride across country like these giant touring trips. But I don't know about you guys, a lot of my life is spent going to work because these things are not cheap. Any new motorcycle nowadays, not cheap. So when it comes down to it, we all have jobs. I always kind of laugh when somebody, I'll leave a comment saying like, yeah, I've got a bag, I got hair gel. And as soon as I mention hair gel, people are like a poser, like, oh, you're not a real motorcycle rider. Well, no, I am a real motorcycle rider that has a real job that doesn't involve motorcycles. So when I go into the office, nobody thinks it looks cool that I look like a biker. I need to look like a presentable person who works in, granted it's a construction office, so it's not like suit and tie, but you know, still just jeans and a polo and, you know, hair that's not looking like it just came out of a helmet in a 115-degree Phoenix day. So that's when I look at a bike like this, and it's very difficult for me not to appreciate the practicality as a daily for me. Ripping this thing through the canyons, man, here, through the twisties, much more confidence inspiring than I would have thought on a bike this large. Handles incredibly well. So if I were to buy this bike, I think I would actually swap it out for the lower windscreen. I think I would rather actually drop this windscreen down to give myself a little bit more air on the helmet at times. That's because I'm in Phoenix, it's hot as shit. So for me, I'd rather have that air coming over my helmet to clear out some of that sweat. So with this windscreen on here right now, I'm not getting like anything, which is great for most people probably, but again, in a hotter climate, I would actually want a little more airflow. This thing sounds proper. Now, in terms of infotainment, there is nobody else in the market, I don't think automotive-wise, not just motorcycle-wise, but in terms of an infotainment that's delivering you the information that you need, nothing more, nothing less, and it gives you, you got your gear, you got your speed, you got your temps and direction, your PSI. I mean, it's giving you everything that you could potentially need basically in a long touring type scenario. You can even change these gauges out. I'm not going to do it now because I'm riding, but you can swap things to whatever it is that you feel necessary for you. There is this ride mode here that will tell you, you know, a breakdown of what your ride was, 57 minutes of ride time. I didn't reset that, so I'm not sure where it's at. GPS, and it's a very good system, and then it just scrolls through and repeats all of those screens. So as you're doing it, you're almost doing it in your peripheral. You know, you can kind of look down, but it doesn't require a whole lot of distraction to utilize the ride command system. I think it's game-changing completely for the motorcycle industry, and is, for me as a tech guy, is a huge draw to this platform that Indian has put out. Now, the last time I rode a Challenger, they had a P&A set of bars on there that I'm personally not a huge fan of. These feel turned out to me almost. It was like, I don't know, it was weird to me. This is not weird to me. This feels actually very comfortable. I would ride with these bars probably forever. Now, I haven't put like hours on them, but I think this riding position is very comfortable. I have no issue with it. I feel very in control of this motorcycle. So we just got done doing a photo stop, which is my first time ever doing that. That is obviously more for the journalists who are needing those images for publication, for me, that image is just awesome. Here it is. Originally, I actually had this bike in standard mode. I have switched it over. The first part of this ride, I wasn't really monkeying with the controls, just trying to get more familiar with the ergonomics, the weight of the bike, just kind of feeling everything out. Now that I'm on this kind of second part of the ride, I can more confidently start monkeying around with some of that stuff. Sport mode does change this bike. It just obviously just changes the throttle mapping, but it makes a significant difference. So when I was in standard mode, there was a lot of, I guess, feeling that the bike didn't have a whole lot down low. But once you change that mapping and just get a little bit more throttle response, it does change the dynamic of the bike pretty significantly, actually. Their weight on these bikes is slung so low that it just doesn't feel that unwieldy. The larger Harley-Davidson touring bikes, they wear a lot of their weight up in the tank, so you do start to feel top heavy, and it's not a big problem when you're at speed. I mean, you don't notice that when you're at speed, really. But where it is a bit more of an issue is like low speed parking lot maneuver type stuff. It's just nice to have that weight slung down low. And you know, with that, it's also translates into cornering too. So this bike, for being a monster, corners. At that last stop, I did open up the lowers down here so that I get a little bit more airflow on my legs. It's just incredibly comfortable to ride in the twisties and then up on the highway. It just, I mean, this thing is just a very compliant motorcycle. Now, I have not gotten into any of the rider adjustability modes with the suspension. I would recommend you go and check out Morgan Gale's content, because he is riding 2-up, so he'll have a lot more valuable content to I guess share what it's like riding this thing 2-up, and also getting into the suspension adjustability in that scenario. For me, I'm just out here kind of ripping this thing as it comes off the shelf. That you know, I like to just share my opinions and let you guys know how it is. So I have to jump in the studio to finish this video out, because, well, I had plenty of video for the rest of that ride. I actually lost audio. My memory card filled up. I just didn't catch it, and with that, got to kind of close it out here. So I do want to say a couple things real quick. Again, first, thank you very much to Indian for having me out. It was awesome. The seat ended up being totally comfortable for the entire day. It did have the heated seat on there, which I didn't mess around with because it was like 90-something degrees out, and didn't need to test that heated seat. Would have liked to have tested the cooled seat, but again, did not have that. It would be pretty interesting to test that cooled seat here in Arizona. All day riding, that bike was just a total pleasure. I think it's great. I would have nothing but great things to say about it. If you guys see the Indian hat that I was rocking at that event, this is not something where, oh, now I'm a shill for Indian. This was actually something where, on my way to the event, I had my Harley-Davidson hat with me, and I'm like, man, I can't show up to an Indian event with a Harley hat on. It just didn't seem like the right thing to do. So I actually stopped at an Indian dealership and just bought this hat. So it's funny, because when I do these things, I'm like, oh, people are going to see that and think, oh, here he is, just a shill for Indian. But just trying to be respectful. So I'm super thrilled that I'm able to go out and do these things, and with your guys' support, it's kind of what makes it all happen. And I had a great day riding that Pursuit. So that is a motorcycle that, at this point in time, if I was going to buy a full-size bagger, which I want to, I'm actually starting to be in the market for making a decision like that. That's the bike I would buy, hands down, over any Harley right now. I'm looking mainly specifically for a liquid-cooled bagger, and the only other option that I'm really aware of is maybe going to like a BMW, which I'm really not interested in, or even going like the Goldwing route, but not quite ready to gain my wings at this point in time. So I think the whole American bagger game right now is just, it's just Indians doing it right, and Harley has to come out with that liquid cooled bagger to compete. So where it's at right now, that is the bagger, no doubt, that I would buy at this point in time. So super thrilled to ride it all day. I'm not just coming out here shilling for Indian. I think it's genuinely just an amazing product. So still love my Heritage Softail, but at this point, I think for what it's worth, I just need a bigger bike. It comes down to being able to fit more stuff on it, especially with all of the camera gear that I travel with now for this channel. The Heritage, I just outgrew it, and it's an awesome platform. It served me well for several years. If I could keep it and afford to keep it, I would. I'm just not sure at this point if I'm able to. So, not saying that I'm going out right now to buy the Indian Pursuit, but I'm also not saying that I wouldn't be doing it maybe in the future here. After riding a few bikes lately, I kind of feel like I'm at the point where I would like to have a full-size bagger for long touring trips, and I think an electric bike for around town stuff. To me, that just seems like the perfect garage of, you know, having two motorcycles. So that's kind of where I think I'm heading here in the future. I change all the time, so who knows? You know, I'm just a whirlwind of ideas up here. So not saying that's the way I'm going, but certainly the way that if I had to make a decision today, that is what I would do. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate your support. Without you, none of this stuff happens. So thank you again. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I'll see you guys next time.